Sometime today, we're confirming Scott Turner as the new Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. As a former NFL cornerback, developer, state and local official, and executive director of the White House Opportunity and Revitalization Council, Mr. Turner understands the challenges facing American communities. While the vast majority of housing and development issues are solved at the local and state level, I certainly understand how the federal government and the programs utilized by many Iowa individual families and communities assist with making our cities the best place to live, work, and play. I look forward to working with Scott Turner to advance Iowa's priorities and sound policies for our nation. Even though I did not meet with Scott Turner in my office as I do most nominees for cabinet, I stressed to him today the importance of responding to congressional letters and inquiries, and I'll have an example on that in just a minute. I want to explain that Congress has the constitutional duty to perform oversight over the executive branch, and as we learn in our high school government classes, what we call checks and balances. Congress not only passes laws and appropriates money, but we have a responsibility to make sure that those laws are faithfully executed by whoever is President of the United States. Oversight then allows us to hold bureaucrats accountable to the rule of law, and it helps keep the faith with taxpayers. Because if we have transparency in government, we have greater accountability of the government product or lack thereof. Let me give you an example where congressional oversight has been much needed in housing and urban development. Congress passed legislation that became effective July 2013 that requires federal contracts to include anti-retaliation protections for contractor employees. This works to make sure that whistleblowers are protected. However, over the last decade, the HUD Inspector General found that thousands of HUD contractors lack these whistleblower protections because the agency failed to adequately update past contracts to include whistleblowers and whistleblower protections. Last August, following up on my responsibility to investigate, I requested answers and records about these findings, but Housing and Urban Development under the Biden administration failed to fully respond and provide responsive records. I fully expect Mr. Turner, as the new secretary, to respond to all the congressional inquiries in a timely and responsible manner. I look forward to working with this new secretary to support long-term housing and revitalization policies to keep our communities, our states, and our nation strong.